Hey everyone, Wuten here, and welcome back to one of my videos on character builds for Pathfinder. These are short little, well, not short, pretty in-depth, detailed videos on some interesting character ideas for Pathfinder that I've been using in campaigns, some just thought experiments. A lot of these are just thought experiments that I try to figure out, hey, what kind of interesting character concept can I come up with and build it? And that's how a lot of these come to be. So today we're going to be looking at one that I'm actually using in a campaign that I don't stream, but is with people like Goody and Ebony and Chaotic and all those other folks. This is Thexan Tyrol. It's just like the name of the Jedi from, oh, well, not Jedi, one of the two twin sons from Star Wars: The Old Republic, Knights of the Eternal Throne. He is one of the twin brothers. However, he does not die, and this is a level 7 gunslinger fighter paladin build, and he is what we would call a Templar. He's basically a pistol revolver using paladin, and that's sort of what the character idea, the class mythos is built around, is just being a Templar with a pistol that does Templar things. So we have Thexan, the advanced firearms build. So that's one of the main distinctions that we have to make here, is that this build only works at this level if you have advanced firearms, or if you have something like a GM hand wave that lets you use things like pepper boxes, something with not necessarily, well, not even pepper boxes for that matter, because advanced firearms, one of the key differences between them and early firearms is that advanced firearms, the one-handed firearms, take a move action to reload. And so that allows us to use a free action with one of our feats that we pick up later on to reload the gun as part of a free action. So we can reload it multiple times per round and fire and get our full iterative attacks. So going forward, that is one of the main driving forces of this build, is that it has to be in a campaign that uses advanced firearms. So we have Thexan, player name is Wuten. He is a human, size medium, gender male, height, weight, hair, eyes, skin, age, and all that. Lawful good because he's a paladin. The father is the deity, the main campaign deity. Homeland and background occupation, Templars, and his languages are Common, Elven, and Celestial. Now, let's move on down here. So we have a strength score of 12. These scores, by the way, are all rolled. So these are rolled with, I believe it was 4d6, and then dropped the lowest score was the roll that we did for it. So we got 12, 16, 14, 14, 14, and then I had 16, but using my racial, I gained +2 charisma, so now it is 18. Now, moving on to the build itself, because this is a bit of an interesting one. So this is multi-classing out the ass. So we have the Divine Hunter Paladin. The Divine Hunter is basically our ranged paladin archetype, a ranged archetype for paladin. It sacrifices some of the auras that you would normally get with a paladin to instead give things like precise shot to your allies. So a bit more specialized to strengthening ranged based allies and yourself. So something to consider there. Trench Fighter is a specific archetype from, I believe that's from the adventure path Rasputin Must Die. I believe that's the case. But basically what it is it is it's focused around, as you can see down here, using cover as part of our main class mythos. So basically what we'll be doing is we'll be shooting around corners, and we'll be doing a lot of sort of breaking and entering and breaching and all that. And we Goody's character is actually a perfect partner in crime, so to speak, for this build, because this build will push a little bit ahead, look around a corner, use that corner as cover, while Goody's character will burst in and breach through like a wall or something. It's a lot of fun. But so that is the Trench Fighter. That's one of the main pieces of this build. Mostly not just because of the cover, but also because of the third level ability, Trench Warfare, allows you to add your dexterity to your firearm damage. So I can take my dex and I can add it to my damage. It's a beautiful thing. It's something that the gunslinger has, I believe, at level 5. So we sort of picked up one level of Mysterious Stranger Gunslinger for the grit and the firearm proficiency, and then we picked up Trench Fighter to get our dex to damage, and then picked up an extra fighter level just to pick up the bonus feat for weapon specialization, which we will get into momentarily. We have our grit is 4 times per day because we have the Mysterious Stranger Gunslinger archetype uses charisma as its grit modifier. So we have 4 per day. And then lay on hands, I believe, I don't think that's correct, actually. I think it should be 2 per day. Half paladin level plus charisma per day. No, actually, no, that's correct. Lay on hands 5 per day. Yep. Yeah, that's correct. All over here we have our skills. It's pretty straightforward. Perception, sense motive, you want those to be very high. Thexan is kind of the face of the group. So we want these charisma-based skills to be pretty high. I do have a circlet of persuasion to help out with those checks, but yeah, he's sort of the face of the group. It's a bit of an interesting situation. It's more of a campaign reasons rather than mechanical reasons. There are characters and the like that are somewhat better suited for it, but because of story reasons, Thexan tends to like to put himself into situations where he is the de facto face, so to speak. So that's one of the big things about that. In addition, because he is a paladin, he also gets his charisma bonus to saving throws, which is very nice. At level 7, he has a plus 15 fortitude save, and then plus 10 reflex and will save. So those are very, very nice to have at his level. Let's see, cover, lay on hands. His Ion Torch, that's pretty typical of me. I like to pick up those torches just so I can use it as a free hand, just so he can have light. Smite Evil. People who use paladins typically know this ability. Once per day, if the target is not evil, cast is wasted. You gain your charisma bonus to hit, deflection to AC, and plus 1 per paladin level to damage. And if the target is an evil dragon, evil outsider, or undead, plus 2 per paladin level to damage. So it's very, very good against evil things. And we fight a lot of undead in this campaign, which makes this perfect for taking down the big, bad undead guy. And it also automatically bypasses all DR. So that's on top of the damage and everything. That is very useful. So going down here, proficiency, simple martial weapons, firearms, all armor, shields, pretty straightforward. Skilled, racial bonus, just +1 racial rank per level, pretty straightforward. Gunsmith, that's just you gain the pistol and the gunsmithing feat. It's fairly useful. Grit, you get that from Gunslinger, Mysterious Stranger, makes it charisma, and each time you kill something or hit a critical hit, you just add another grit. Focused aim is a special ability from the Gunslinger, the Mysterious Stranger, that I believe replaces the what was it called? I think it was quick clear, maybe. Yeah, I think it was quick clear because I don't see it there. So this replaces quick clear. Just swift action, add your charisma to damage, just add even more charisma to damage. Gunslinger's dodge, as an immediate action, spending 1 grit, I can gain 2 ranged. I can gain 2 AC against a ranged attack by moving 5 foot, or I can drop prone for an additional +4 AC. Deadeye just adds, I can attack touch AC beyond the first 5 range increments. That's just lets me hit touch AC with pistol. I don't usually use this one all that much just because the pistol is pretty solid. Pistol. I say pistol, but I actually mean revolver. But revolver's pretty solid because it still attacks touch AC up to the first 5 range increments. So it's useful. Trench warfare. This is the ability I was mentioning earlier. It adds +2. It adds dexterity to damage and then +2 AC from any sort of cover that I would pick up. So if I'm like I said, if I'm hiding behind a wall or hiding below like a low trench for that matter, it adds additional AC. So it's just he's good at hiding behind something and then shooting, taking the opportunity to shoot. So that's useful. Bravery, just +1 saving throws versus fear. Pretty straightforward. Detect evil, straightforward. Detect evil. Aura of good, pretty standard. Smite evil. Divine grace is that ability that adds these charisma to saving throws. And then lay on hands. That's just swift action, heal self. Move action, heal someone else. So that is our current build there. These are the future levels that I have laid out here. These are just the things that he'd pick up as he's leveling up, just the class abilities. Shared precision, that sort of replaces the aura of, I think it's courage, but I don't worry too much about that because Goody's character is also a paladin, so she picks up aura of courage, so I don't need to worry about picking that up because it wouldn't stack with hers. So I just pick that up to gain a bonus to our ranged allies. Divine health, mercy, that's pretty standard stuff. Channel positive energy, all this going down. Distant mercy, I believe. What was it? Distant mercy. I want to say it what is it? Distant mercy is I can use 2 uses of lay on hands to target anyone within 5 feet per paladin level. So what it would let me do is, like, for example, it's I get it at level 6. So, or level 6 Paladin rather. So, Distant Mercy would let me use Lay on Hands up to 30 feet away. So I can either heal self or damage undead, I believe. That's the purpose of that. Lay on Hands, I think damages undead as well. Yes. I think. Yeah. Yeah, it's like the channel positive energy. Smite Evil, Aura of Care. That's Aura of Care. That one is any allies within 10 feet no longer provide cover against each other's ranged attacks unless they wish to. So basically, you can use your allies to provide cover when making ranged attacks. So someone trying to shoot someone else, for example, trying to make a ranged attack against you, there has to be a line of effect that isn't obstructed by your party members. So, like, say, for example, I'm standing behind Goody's Paladin character, someone standing in front of Goody's Paladin character can't make a ranged attack at me unless they are able to. They would have to make a mischance versus. Well, they would have to bypass the cover that Goody's character is providing. So I would get. I think I would get partial cover from that. So partial cover would be additional +4 AC to ranged attacks. So they would have to roll even higher to hit me past Goody's character. So that's how that works. Traits. Now these are a bit more towards, at least these two, they're a bit more geared towards story reasons. He has one tattoo on his left hand that is, well, actually, I think if I remember right, it was the left hand was the foul brand, and then the right hand was the holy tattoo, because he uses the revolver in his left hand because the foul brand is a tattoo of, well, it's not a tattoo, it's a brand of the insignia of the daughter, which is we've basically created pantheon for this campaign that's separate from Pathfinder's campaigns. So this is, the daughter is a bit more a bit more of the vengeful type, the closed fist policy behavior. So that's the foul brand, and that's the hand that he wields the gun in. And then the holy tattoo is the father's insignia, who is the embodiment of justice and all that is lawful and all that. So that is the hand that he uses lay on hands with. So that's sort of a narrative thing that I've got going there. Underlying principles, +1, use magic device, and it's a class skill. Very useful when you're trying to use things like wands and whatnot. And like other magical items. And of course, reactionary +2 flat initiative, and that's just flat initiative, and it's very useful. So moving down to equipment, we have the mithril chain shirt, fairly standard for a light armored character. Lets him move around without too much issue. Lets him have a pretty high dex bonus to his AC. Doesn't have any sort of check penalties, so no skills are affected by the armor that he wears, and it's fairly light. 10 pounds is a pretty not very cumbersome armor. His revolver is a +1 reliable revolver. It's a total of +2 bonus, and since it was crafted, the cost of it is reduced. You have all these bonuses here. His attack, his ranged attack modifier with the feats that I've got here. Weapon focus revolver plus the +1 gives him +12 to hit, and then +7 on his iterative attack. And then damage is 1d8 +6, which is d8 +1 plus his dexterity plus weapon specialization from the 4th level trench fighter. And then critical ×4, range 20, bludgeoning and piercing 4 pounds. And then technically 45 metal cartridges he has in his inventory and 6 shots. However, we have this item here that provides abundant ammunition at will. Free action reload with rapid shot, because move action for all advanced firearms taking, or, well, actually, I need to change that. It's rapid reload. Is rapid reload lets you reload as a free action. Reload advanced fire one-handed firearm as a free action. So our point blank shot, pretty standard, +1/+1. Deadly aim or rapid shot. Since deadly aim at this level, deadly aim and rapid shot take the same penalties, so I've just put them into one. So it's either plus or -2 or -2, -2, -7. And then +4 or 1d8, 1d8. And then deadly aim and rapid shot is -4, -4, -9, 1d8 +8, 1d8 +8. It's pretty standard. Actually, I need to change this to 1d8 +10. You see, this is a good process for me because I'm catching things that I would have normally missed in an actual game. So working through this is helpful to me too. So next up is the rapier. This is just a melee weapon for him to have, just in case he needed melee. And that's pretty much it for his weapons and armor. Let's move on down to his feats, his actual build here. So point blank shot, I've already mentioned, is just a flat +1 attack and damage within 30 feet. And it's a prerequisite for a lot of these other feats here. Quick draw is his bonus feat that he gets at level 1. Draw a weapon as a free action, pretty straightforward. Lets him draw it as part of without having to expend any sort of actions, and lets him fire immediately. Class 1 gunsmithing lets him craft firearm equipment. That's from the mysterious stranger gunslinger. He just lets him make guns and equipment. Most importantly, it lets him make metal cartridges, which are very expensive to buy normally. And so it lets him build those at 1/3 the cost of purchasing them. So it lets him craft them at about five-ish gold pieces each. And so he's got about 45 of those. Now, one of the single differences with this campaign is that we have been given a free feat based on our character. So in this case, my free level 1 feat was Bonded Mind, and I have it's a bit of a funky thing. So it's Bonded Mind, but it's only with my sibling Arkan, who is a female musket using gunslinger with like a lot of other story things. So basically it lets us communicate telepathically. That's pretty much it. It's mostly for story reasons. Doesn't really come into play in terms of mechanical reasons. It's more of a help story things with DM player character. Next is precise shot, which we pick up at, I believe it's the Paladin level that we take. In fact, I'm almost certain it's the Paladin level. I think it is. Divine Hunter. Yes. It replaces heavy armor proficiency, while we still get that with Trench Fighter. So class level 2, Paladin, we get precise shot. We lets us shoot into melee combat without penalty. You're going to see a lot of similar things that you may have seen with the Lewie build. A lot of these are similar, but there's a couple of them that are unique. Bonus 3, rapid shot, lets us shoot twice at a -2 hit penalty. Level 3, what's it? I think that's Gunslinger. Yeah, I think Gunslinger gets an extra feat at level... Class 2, bonus 3, class 3, class 3, class 3. Oh, no, that's the Trench Fighter. Trench Fighter. That is class 3. I need to... Okay, so I'm going to add this. Gunslinger, class 1. Paladin, class 2. Fighter. This is just for me, just for ease of figuring this stuff out. And then Fighter class 3, deadly aim, -2, +4 damage for ranged attacks. Bonus 5, bonus feat at level 5 was rapid reload. Now this is the crux of the build. It lets us reload advanced one-handed firearms, specifically the revolver, as a free action. So normally it's a move action to reload an advanced one-handed firearm, specifically the revolver. With rapid reload, that lets us reload as a free action and continue firing our iterative attacks. So we can fire, go to the next round, fire, immediately rapid reload, and then we can continue firing the following round. And then as we level up and get more iterative attacks, that will compound over time. So it's very useful to have. And then bonus level 7, I picked up both weapon focus and weapon specialization, just because those are very useful to have for it's just very useful to have for both point blank master later on here, which lets us shoot ranged attacks without provoking attacks of opportunity in melee, and also gives us access to all of these other feats later on. So these are the planned feats going forward. Point blank master, you can shoot in melee while in melee without provoking anything. Improved precise shot. Target gains no bonus from less than total cover or concealment. That just lets me shoot without having to have a mischance from that. Snapshot lets me threaten like I'm using a melee weapon with a ranged weapon. So that lets me function a lot better in close quarters if need be. Improved critical with the revolver. The crit range just gets increased to 19 to 20. That's fairly useful for a revolver. That just means that anytime I roll a 19 or a 20 on the die, then I can roll to confirm a critical hit. And then that also transfers into having more grit, which can be used for more gunslinger abilities and lets me just have a bit more versatility in combat. Greater snapshot adds more damage to... Actually, let me double check that. I think I may have typed that weird. Unranged. Attacks of opportunity. So Uh, Greater Snapshot lets you add +4 damage and +4 to your confirmation roll to critical hit on a ranged attack of opportunity. And then at level 20, that bonus will go up to +6. And then bonus 19, I'll just get a flat +4 to confirming crits. Basically, it goes from level 13. Level 13, that's pretty much when the build is quote unquote done. And then everything after that is just dumping into critical feats. Things that make him more scary when he critically hits. Yeah, I think after that is just a bunch of story items over here. I have a wish list of items that I would like to have. Pretty straightforward things. You may end up seeing a lot of familiar items, familiar enchants and all of that. One thing that I will elaborate on here, the pouch of infinite ammunition. Now, this is a custom magic item. Now, custom magic items, the thing about those, there is a method by which you calculate the cost of a custom magic item. So in the case of the pouch of infinite ammunition, it is, let me pull the equation up here. So the pouch of infinite ammunition is 2,000 gold pieces crafted, 4,000 gold pieces total, which is calculated by it being a first level spell times the minimum caster level, which is 1, times a base cost of 2,000, times a basically slotless will double the cost. So the base cost is 4,000 gold pieces. However, because it was crafted by someone that just needed materials, the cost is halved to 2,000. So 2,000 gives you a pouch of infinite ammunition, which you have to activate as a standard action, which is why I mentioned it up here. But it lets you have any ammunition that's in this pouch, which in this case is the metal cartridges. Any ammunition that is removed from that pouch and subsequently is fired gets re-added back to the pouch as soon as it is fired. So you put it in the pouch, you cast the spell, you reload with the pouch, and then you fire with the bullets from the pouch. They hit the target, the bullets vanish, reappear back in the pouch. So that is a good way of conserving a good amount of money, and it also lets me not have to spend about 5 gold pieces every time I fire. So I can be a bit more liberal with my use of my firearm. So yes, that's a big thing about it. And then at this point, the Circlet of Persuasion, which I think I mentioned earlier, just gives a flat +3 to charisma checks, and the Ring of Sustenance, which is a fairly standard item that I use to avoid having to eat and lets me only need 2 hours of sleep. So that's something that would be very useful for me in real life, but alas is only in fantasy. So I think that's everything. I believe I covered just about everything in this build. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment down below, and I will get to answering that pretty quickly as soon as I can. Or if it's a complex question, I will do my due diligence and research it and be sure to get you an answer as soon as I can. So hope you enjoyed, and until next time, see y'all later.